flame. To me, a torch flame, frankly, for the very reason that most people use it, is the reason I don't like it. I think it takes too much work. I really have to pay attention to what I'm doing with the torch so that I don't burn my wrapper. And I think that everybody should. That's the whole purpose behind toasting the end of the cigar. So you start with your cigar. The purpose behind toasting this is just to get it started so that you don't burn your wrapper around here. Whereas if I just do this, it's really likely that I'm going to burn the wrapper on the bottom. Whereas with the soft flame, the chances are slim that I'm going to burn the wrapper there.
Come on, Kurt, light that up.
Well, I am in my wife's living room on the kids' computer, since I'm not often a Skyper. But I can tell you, as soon as I get outside in the garden this afternoon, it'll get lit. So even the owner of a cigar company knows who the boss is when he gets home. And if I forget who the boss is, my children will remind me.
Yeah, and Mike and PA's going to find out when his wife gets home who the boss is, but that's another story.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, nasty story this is going to be.
Well, anybody else got any more questions for Kurt in the chat room before we let him get going? The show is almost at an hour. We like to keep it there. So if you guys got any more questions for Kurt, now's the time to ask.
Right, and I'll ask Kurt a quick one in the meantime if you can hear me.
Yeah.
What are you planning anything further in the line with the cutters, the lighters, like you brought out those HC collections where they were matched? Are you going to be doing anything else like that, expanding that line or anything?
Yes, we definitely are, and bear with me a minute here because there's two answers to this question. Our product development cycle is our product launch cycle is annual. We launch products every year for the trade show. However, our product development cycle is 18 months. It takes 6 months alone for a product. Once it's ready to be produced, it takes 6 months for it to get produced. So the way we manage that is we alternate rollout years between cutters and lighters. And you guys may have noticed that in last year's trade show, 2010, that was a cutter year. Certainly we had a bunch of lighters come out or several lighters come out in 2010, but the majority of our innovation was in cutters. And the reason for that is if you're working on one cutter, you're working on cutters. And Scott has a team of industrial design student interns, and Scott's an industrial designer. So they'll work on a variety of cutters at the same time. Since midsummer last year, we've been working on lighters, and we're hoping to have, and it's always a hoping to have, a bunch of lighters come out this year, and probably much fewer cutters. So there's the first answer right there, and then as we innovate in our other categories such as humidification, we're looking at we're studying digital hygrometers hard, and I can't share right now what we're looking at doing in digital hygrometers, but we've got some enormous innovation coming in those. And I think that the entire cigar world will notice and really appreciate. The second part of the question was regarding what I call affinity families, and that is about the Havana collection. I believe that there are groups of cigar smokers that follow an affinity that they have. And during the generations leading up to the cigar boom, the real affinity in cigars was toward the European continental smoker who wore a double-breasted jacket and had a Lancero cigar. And that's an affinity group who we really haven't addressed well because of the original boom when we got started. And born out of the original boom in cigars was the affinity group I call the Havana aficionados. And if you remember the original boom when Cigar Aficionado got published, everything in the cigar world was about Havana and Cuban cigars. And that's the reason for the birth of the Havana collection, cutters, lighters, carrying cases. We even had a humidor at one point. Now, since then, we had the end of that boom. And with the end of that boom, I think came maybe not the end of the Havana collection group of consumers. Those guys are all still around, and they're all still Cuban aficionados. But a new group of consumers was born in the early 2000s at the beginning of the second boom, which happened 2001 to 2004. And it was more of a mini boom, but certainly it's a second boom of not just cigar consumption, but of new consumers to the trade. And you guys and most of your consumers, I'm going to guess, most of your viewers are in that group. This new generation that came into the second boom is a group of consumers who, frankly said, is far more sophisticated in knowledge of cigars. And when I say knowledge, I mean everything from seed to smoke. You know, how a cigar is seminated, how it's transferred to the soil, how it's cultivated, fermented, or fermented, dried, fermented, et cetera, and even blending expertise. The level of knowledge out there certainly today surpasses among the new generation, surpasses the older generations, and quite frankly, even surpasses some retailers who perhaps didn't keep up. It's incredible to watch. Now, our approach to your generation of smokers is through our Mayan collection. And the rationale behind that is that my thinking is that the new generation is much more interested in the indigenous product, or the tribal look and feel, the tribal knowledge of cigars. So we produced a tribal looking pattern for cutters and lighters that just happens to coincide with this deep tribal knowledge and also all the tribal tattooing that's going on. And that's what the Mayan collection is all about. Now, do we have a new affinity group coming? No. The Mayan collection, the Havana collection, while it's middle-aged now, got almost 10 years under its legs before we introduced the Mayan collection. And I'm not saying that the Mayan will get 10 years before we launch our next, but it really needs time to grow up. So there you have that. Probably far more than you wanted.
No, that's great. That's great.
Well, it looks like we got one last question and has nothing to do with cigars, Kurt. Matt wants to know, do you have a favorite barbecue place in Kansas City?
Well, Matt, you're going to have to come to Kansas City on Wednesdays and every Wednesday, because that's barbecue day at Xikar. And actually, we sometimes have it in office, but usually we go to a different barbecue joint for lunch on Wednesdays. That's like going to Cuba and saying, or going to Nicaragua and saying, do you have a favorite field that grows cigars? I mean, there's just so many of them in this town, and they're all great. And perhaps I shouldn't do this because I'm going to hear about it this afternoon from my friends and my buddy retailers. Yes, I have a favorite in Kansas City, which is called Oklahoma Joe's. And Oklahoma Joe's is in a gas station about 4 blocks from my high school. And they have, in my opinion, by far the best barbecue in town.
There you go.
There you go. You put them on
Oklahoma Joe's.
There you go.
All right. Well, Kurt, listen, we want to thank you so much for being on. We took you a little bit past the hour, but great answering all the questions. We really appreciate it. We wish you nothing but continued success, and we look forward to having you on when you're ready to launch whatever you're going to launch new.
Well, Mike, and all your viewers, thanks for your time. Thanks for your enthusiasm. Thanks for going easy on me. I was afraid I might get some questions I couldn't answer and then stumble and fumble for a while. So it's been a great pleasure. Let's keep in touch on Twitter. And I noticed by looking at your list of Ustream audience that a lot of these are Twitter names I recognize. So let's stay in touch over there.
Yes, and I'll see you next week. at Cigar Fest.
Oh, yeah. Oh, at Cigar Fest. That's right. Come see me at Cigar Fest. Thanks, Walt. I appreciate that comment.
All right, everybody. Well, again, Kurt, thanks a lot for being on, and we will definitely be in touch in the future to have you on Stogie411.
Sounds great. Great show, guys. Well done.
Have a great day.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Okay, everybody, that was Kurt from Xikar.
Right.
We went over our hour a lot of time, but hey, the show was going good. There's no need to cut anybody off. So
now,
Mike's going to take it from here.
Well, I just wanted to say for everybody watching, it's going to look a little funky right now, just because of the camera setups with the program we're using. When Kurt logs off, if you've ever, well, now it should be pretty much back to normal here shortly. It is on my screen, but
it's good on mine.
I just wanted to let everybody know that it wasn't going to look like that. It was going to change.
Yeah, that's the first time we had 3 Skypes going. We did a lot of testing, and I want to thank Matt also. Last night he worked late with us getting everything set up right, so it worked good. But
he didn't even eat dinner. He had his wife put it in the fridge for him, and he ate it later. That's the dedication.
We want to thank everybody in the chat room, because if you guys don't show up, then there's no show. So we really appreciate the support we've been getting from everybody on Twitter and in the cigar community. And Mike, why don't you take us out and go ahead and let the folks know when the next show is?
All right, guys and gals. Next show is going to be May 21st at 1 p.m., Saturday again. And we are going to have, I don't know if you'll be able to see it with the lighting. Oh, yeah, look at that. John Huber is going to be on, and we're going to be able to ask him all kinds of questions about his new cigar brand, Crown Heads, and we'll see what kind of questions he can answer for us, whether he can give us any insider information or not. That would be great. Yeah. But I guess that's it then. Mike, do you have anything else?
Yeah, just real quick, just so the viewers know, starting June, we will be going to, our show format will change. We're going to do 2 shows a month. We're not quite sure what days. We'll keep everybody informed, but starting June, we are going to 2 shows a month. Other than that, I want to thank Mike again, and Matt, and everybody in the chat room, and enjoy your smokes, folks.
Have a good day, guys.